Well, hello, Maverick Traders. I'm very happy to be able to introduce you to a fantastic tool. And we've actually teamed up with a company called TradeBench. TradeBench makes awesome software. We're very happy that we're able to bring this to you. And TradeBench is a trading journal, but it is so much more than a trading journal. It is going to be where you go build your strategies. It's going to be where you build your checklists. And it's going to be where you basically do all your simulator trading, demo trading, and live trading. And the most powerful thing about the software is that it basically gives you almost unlimited ability to run reports and run reports across all manner of things to where you can really pinpoint, okay, where are my strengths, where are my weaknesses, what do I need to work on, and how to optimize things. And so the great thing about it, it's a very simple software to use and is also cloud-based. And so wherever you are, you can log in, get into your TradeBench account. All right, so let's kind of go through the features of what the TradeBench is. So again, it's an online software. And the first thing we're going to go through is planning trades. And at Maverick, we're all about systematic trading. Our traders, we all follow systems. We all follow different systems, but in the end, we all follow systems. The only way to be consistently long-term profitable as a trader is to have a system with an edge. That is just plain and simple the truth. So what you're going to do with the TradeBench is you're going to plan out your trades. And I'm going to take you through kind of how to do it, how to plan it out. This is a tool that you're going to, of course, like any software, start out with. It may be a little bit unfamiliar, but I'm telling you, it's very simple and easy to use. And this is going to be the biggest thing at first, is that to plan trades. And basically what you're going to be able to go in and do is you're going to be able to go in and create some strategies. And your strategies are basically going to be a checklist of these are all the 10 things I need to check off before I can make this kind of trade. And so again, you're going to have a checklist right in front of you, and it's really cool because you're going to build your strategies, and you're just going to click yes, 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 yes. And by doing that, it allows you to trade in a systematic way to where you're doing the same kind of things over and over again. Right, another feature, money management. It's got a really cool built-in money management system where basically you can set position sizing limits, you can set a lot of things. It's going to be really helpful to get consistency on position management. This is going to be your trading journal. As I said, your trades are going to go in here, and I'm not just talking about your live trades, I'm talking about everything. One of the things you're going to do in the Market Master series is you're going to spend a lot of time on a trade simulator. Now, if you don't know what a trade simulator is basically a software that gives you past data. It gives you a random chart in the past. You have no idea what chart it is. You have no idea what time it was over the last 10, 15, 20 years. All it is a chart. It's the candles, and you have to trade on it. It's a great tool. You're going to be on it quite a bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have you basically enter your simulator trades into your TradeBench. And as I said, it's really cool because we're going to run some really great reports. When you start your demo trading, your demo trades are going to go in here as well. TradeBench allows you to create different accounts. So again, if you have your simulator account, you're going to create that. You're going to have your demo account. You're going to create that. If you have, again, live trades that you're doing, whether it's in the Maverick account, whether it's in your own personal account, you can also build these other accounts to where you can track everything in one software. And the really cool thing is that the reporting, and I'm going to show you this here in a second, it is just so cool because we can run reports and we can basically say, okay, show me how I'm doing on this very specific thing. How well am I doing on when I buy breakouts? And you can say, okay, buying breakouts in just my simulator account, or maybe I'm interested in buying, how am I doing buying breakouts only in my live trading? And then you might even say, okay, well, is my trading better in my simulator or my demo than it is in my live account? And the answer is yes. Why is that? And so it allows you to go in and customize these reports and basically get all the information that you want. So let's jump into the software and go through just some of the basics, because over the next couple sessions, we're going to be talking about the TradeBench software and basically how to go in and build it out. We want you to have everything set up and ready so when you do jump on your simulator, that everything is all set up and ready to go. So over the next couple sessions, we're going to be walking through some exercises to get this trade journal ready for you for when you are engaging in your simulator trades. So you are going to go to TradeBench.com, go ahead and hit login, and log in with your username and password. Once you've logged in, it basically is going to drop you at the dashboard. Now again, the dashboard, until you get everything set up, until you get trades put in, it's going to look just like this. Not too excited. What I really want to do is point you over to the configuration. This is where I want you to go when you get into the TradeBench for the first time, because we need to set up everything in configuration. So when you go in and put in your trades, everything is already completed. So go to configurations and go to brokers. All right, now brokers is basically the name for accounts. So again, if you want to create different accounts, then this is where you're going to do it. It by default has a paper trade broker. If you want, you can delete that one. You can keep it. What I want you to do, the first thing I want you to do is go in and add a new broker. And I want you to call it, okay, simulator account. So again, let's set up your simulator account broker. It's going to ask you the currency of the account. Again, go in and put in US dollars. Then it's going to ask you stuff like, okay, what is the starting account value? Again, you can start out with any amount if you want. Start out with 25,000. Then it's going to ask you stuff like commissions. Now, in a simulator account, I think you don't want to put in commission. Again, a simulator account, all we're trying to do is figure out win, loss, profit factors, all of our numbers. It doesn't matter how much money you make in a simulator account. It's kind of silly to even look at it. So for me, I'm going to put in 0 for simulator. Now, of course, when you build your live trading accounts, you're going to put in what your commission is actually going to be. But for a simulator account, I'm just going to put in 0, and we're going to go ahead and create that. So as you see, we actually have created this simulator account. You're allowed to put in as many accounts as you want. So again, if you have a Thinkorswim account, go ahead and make a broker for Thinkorswim. If you have other accounts, you can go ahead and make those. When you get into demo trading, you're going to be making a demo trade account. All right, so once you get that, that's going to be the first thing I want you to do is set up a simulator account. Let's go next into labels. All right, so labels, this is going to be really helpful in the reporting. And right now, it may not make a ton of sense until we get more into this. But basically, a label is you're able to go in and say, okay, I'm going to make this label because I want to be able to run a report based on this label. They already have some labels in. Again, if you want, you can delete these. I would say go ahead and delete these, but if you want to leave them in for now, that's great. But let's just go ahead and add a label. So my label is going to be something like, let's say that I want to put a label as a bull call spread. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And this is just going to be one of these strategies. So again, I just hit bull call spread, and it's very simple to add in. When you go in and build a trade, you're going to have the ability to click on a label. And so I'll show you this in a little bit. When you go in and you build out your trade, there's going to be a place where you actually list labels. And if you click this label, you basically can then run a report on all of your bull call spreads. So we're going to get into what labels to add, but for right now, just go in and add something like, let's say that it is a breakout. That is the label I want to add. So now I'll have a box to check when I'm making a trade. This is breakout. If it's a breakout, I can click that box. Now I can go run reports and see, okay, how well did I do on my breakouts? Let's go next from configuration into strategies. Right now, this is where you're going to spend the majority of your time at first as you're building your strategies. They already have a few strategies built. Of course, we want you as a Maverick trader to run your own book, make your own trades, build your own strategies. So let me click here on Add Strategy. So I'm going to put in a strategy name, and the first strategy that we go through in the Market Master is called the Bull Pullback. And strategy source, again, you can leave this blank. You can say this is a trade for Maverick. Active strategy, just leave that checked. If you uncheck it, it just won't show up in your choices of strategies to use. If you want to have a little bit less, again, if you build a whole bunch and you only want to focus on a few, you would unclick that. So checklist to use for the strategy. All right, we're going to get into checklist next, but a checklist is really cool because you basically will be able to go in and say, okay, this is my checklist. And it's going to force you to click through this checklist. And then down here basically is asking you for information. So when you make this trade, it's going to basically ask you the question of entry, stop, targets. Basically, you're going to have to fill out what it is you're thinking on this trade. So I'm going to go ahead and make this bull pullback. I haven't customized it much yet. But as you can see, I now have this bull pullback strategy set up. Let's go back to configuration. Let's go to checklists. Right, now this is just the really cool part of this, is making these checklists. So the first strategy that we go through in the Market Master series is called the bull pullback. And this here is the bull pullback. This is the bull pullback setup sheet. And this is basically a checklist. As you can see here, you have to go in and you're going to actually check off all these criteria. You're going to check off all these criteria, and that basically is systematic trading. So really what we want you to do is we want you to take this idea, or even exactly this sheet, and input it into the TradeBench. So we go back, we're going to add in a checklist. And we're going to call this the checklist for the bull pullback. All right, bull pullback checklist. And I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. So now I've just added that. I'm going to go in and edit. Go in and edit this because I'm going to add a new checklist item. So right now this checklist is empty because we haven't added anything. I'm going to add something. And I'm going to add something like, okay, you know what? The first thing on my bull pullback is I'm looking for an uptrend where the stock recently made a new swing high. Now over here, you have manual to where you're going to manually check it off, or they have a couple things that will automatically check for you. And it's actually pretty cool. But let's just put in this manual one for right now. So that's going to be my first thing in my checklist. If you want, you can add in some more things. You can see that this additional information will show up if you hover above this. I'm going to quickly just go ahead and hit submit. So I've now added one thing in my checklist. Let me add another one. The next part of the bull pullback is the stock is trading above a rising 50-day moving average. All right, so that's going to be my next checklist. I can hit submit. Let's go ahead and add another checklist item. Now this one, let's go ahead and do price. So let's say that one of our checklist items, price is greater than $10. All right, and now I can go over here and click this auto check. So the really cool thing is we've now basically said we want to be lazy. We want you to go out and check online to see if the stock is greater than $10. So since we chose the auto check, now we go in and we say, okay, we want it above 10. We want it to be above 10. Let's go ahead and hit submit. Now we've just put in 3 items in the checklist. Obviously, we are going to want to put on more, but we're going to be building what it is we want to take a look at when we're making this specific strategy. So let me go back now to strategies. And remember, we built this bull pullback strategy. Let's go to edit it. And now that we've built a new checklist, do you see that we now have this bull pullback checklist? And we can go ahead and click that. All right, so at this point, we have now said that when we use a bull pullback strategy, we want this checklist to come up where we have to check it off. So let's go ahead and save that. So we've now built a strategy. we've tied a checklist to the strategy. Let me quickly go through templates. Now, what these templates are is basically this is the base template that's always going to pop up on all your trades. It's going to basically be a template. And you can go in and say, okay, reason for entry. So you may want to ask yourself, what was the reason for entry? What were you feeling at the time? Like silly things. Not silly things. We want you to be very thoughtful about trading. What were some of your worries? Basically, you can go ahead and create these templates, and when I save them, every time I enter a trade, it's going to ask me these questions. And I can actually really quickly answer those questions, and it gets saved and tagged on that trade. So on these templates, you can go in and basically say, okay, how do I want to take my journal? Now, again, the journal is more about just numbers. The journal is about learning this whole process and getting better. And so whatever you can do, and then any color commentary you can put in on your trades, please do. But once you save those templates, now every time that you go make a trade, it's going to ask you these same questions. Right, let's go back into configuration and let's finish up with risk settings. So risk settings is basically going to be your position sizing and money management. And it basically asks you some pretty simple questions. What's the maximum percentage to risk on a single trade? So if you decided, you know what, I'm going to have 2% max loss. Okay, that's where you go. And then you can say, okay, the maximum percentage to risk on a single trade of total account value. You can go in and make these adjustments however you want. Now, what's going to happen if you make a trade? It's going to automatically default your position size to 2% of your account if you fill this out. If you read here, if you want to ignore the settings, set it to 100%. But this will automatically basically say, okay, every trade you make is going to do 2%. This is the most you can trade. Go ahead and hit submit. All right, so basically I've gone through all these configuration settings and I've really built out what it is I wanted to do. And as I said, over the next couple sessions, we're going to be going through some more things to do. I wanted to give you an overview of how the software works, what you're going to do with it. But we're going to have you go in, okay, we want you to go in and do this. But when you have it all set up, you're going to go to Trade and Plans, and then you're going to enter a trade using an existing full trade plan. Now remember, we built the bull pullback. So you would go in here and you'd say, okay, what is the stock I'm trading? And the stock, again, I put in was Apple. So what Apple does, or what the software does, it goes out and grabs the price. It goes and grabs the price. It goes and gives you everything you need. What is the strategy we're going to be using on it? Well, I'm going to be using the bull pullback strategy. When I click that, do you see that the checklist pops up that we built? Remember, we built this bull pullback checklist. And now what I can do is I can go in and say, yes, this is happening, this is happening. As you can see, the price is greater than 10 is already clicked because remember, we used the auto check button. So we're going to go through, and basically before you make your trade, you're going to have to click these and basically say yes. Now if you take a look over to the right at the trade plan summary, it gives you a big red, not fully checked. Hey, you didn't check off everything on your list. All right, let's go next down to simulator account. So it's basically saying, where are you making this trade? I'm making it in my simulator account. And of course, you're going to be planning out all your trades. So let's say that your entry is 109. Your planned target was 200. Again, this is all the stuff you're going to be working on. Again, we call this test, time frame, entry, stop, target. But you're going to be basically putting in these numbers. And the really cool thing, as you can see over here, is it basically builds everything out for you. It says based on 2% risk of your account, this is going to be how many shares, this is going to be all the numbers. I'm going to go ahead and click this last one. As you can see, we clicked that last one. The red went away in the trade plan summary. And the last one is our labels. And remember, we talked about labels. Whatever labels you add, I can click. So let's say that this was a breakout. So I can click this. You're going to build a bunch of labels. And what this is going to allow you to do is when you label your trades, you can go back and run so many great customized reports. Let me see how well I did with my bull call spreads. Let me see how well I did on breakouts with bull call spreads. It's really cool you can do. And then down here, this is where, again, your template that you put in says, okay, what do we want to be able to or have to fill out when we are making this trade? And this is where you can go in and say, stock hitting new highs, volume confirmed. Again, whatever it is you want to add, you can add that in here. So the really cool thing is once you hit submit, you've basically gone through the plan of being very systematic. You've followed your template. You've answered the questions. Why are you getting in? How did it happen? And then what you're going to do, this is the entry. So it says, what was the reason for entry? And again, you could say, this was a high base breakout. Market bullish with confirmation of the tech sector. So again, this is where you're going to answer your questions. What were your feelings at the time? What were some of your worries? Then you come in here, you fill price. Where did you get filled? What was the order quantity? We did 52 shares. All right, so as you can see here, we're going to go through and submit this trade. So at this point, we've now put in a trade. Now we have only put in an entry order. We haven't put in an exit order. We're going to be walking through that at a different time. But this is where you can go in and now view everything. You can view everything. You can take a look at your trades. Once you close it out, you can go ahead and do a post-mortem. It's really cool. So really what I wanted you to really get at this point is we want you to go into your TradeBench, go into configuration, and start kind of setting some things up. Now, of course, you may not know exactly what to put in there, but over the next couple sessions, we're going to be referring back to the software and say, okay, we want you to go in and do this and this. Right now, you can definitely create your simulator account. You can go in and play around with the software, go in and play around with the risk settings. But this is where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. And as I said earlier, it is a really cool software because once you get some trades in there, your ability to run reports is absolutely fantastic. Hopefully you're excited to get started on this software. Like I said, it is a great software. We're really happy to be able to partner it up with TradeBench. Thanks, everybody.